Check. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Raptors Rewind. After a series of impressively a recap of one of the craziest games I've seen, and I apologize to anyone who has been trying to watch for the past 30 minutes because at first there were some camera issues, and then there was some pretty impressive audio issues and all sorts of stuff. But I think we're ready to go now. This is this has already been such a all that aside, what a crazy game. Utah came in 6th seed in the West. Not easy competition by any means, and a matchup that we were all kind of worried about. Not so much the Jazz, but we know we had a three series of games. My English incredible right now, but we had 3 in a row of higher level teams. The season's been kind of good to us in a lot of senses in terms of our matchups so far, and so 3 contenders, so to speak, back to back was gonna be a bit of a challenge. We have Ibaka just back now, so we got to test our legs and everything. But anyway, it's turned out in 77-37, 40-point lead. The largest Raptors. I can't remember if the statistic is the largest or the highest amount of points scored in the first half for Raptors in either season or franchise history. Largest lead, I think, in franchise history at the half. So that's very impressive. And yeah, we were just feeling good, man. We were like, oh, this road trip coming up, easy, cakewalk. Are you kidding me? 40 points ahead in the first half. Oof, bring on the heat now, dude. We'll get 35 on them or 50. Doesn't matter. But then the third started, and clearly that's the exact same feeling that the Raptors were having in their locker room, because they just gave it away. They just didn't give a shit after the first half. The first 6 minutes of the third, at least, just absolutely nothing going on, and that's kind of a little concerning, just because. Yeah, we had points to give, but it's just kind of crazy that a team that's all about being great defensively. Sure, we're good. I think we were number 1 in threes in the league. I don't know if that still stands. And we're decent at offense, but the reason why we're able to win a lot of these games is because we just shut people down. We shut superstars down. We shut teams down. We're great at defense. So to see an entire quarter of a Toronto game where they're not playing defense is seeing a different team entirely, and it's a very upsetting team to watch. It's it's very bad. It's like watching it's like what I can imagine being a Knicks fan is just getting fucking dunked on and just not having anything go your way, and also just being pathetic. It was just pathetic. And I know that it doesn't come from a place where the Raptors are bad, obviously, but it's just man, I've always thought of the team, or at least this iteration of the team since last year, as really just there's no level of comfort that exists that would keep them from being on their toes. A lot of the in the playoffs last year, they could go up a couple games, but they're never ever gonna put the pressure off. They're just gonna keep going, and obviously it's the playoffs, it's different, but this was the first time I've seen the team just really completely fall asleep because they just feel like they're in a good zone, and I just don't really like that energy. Obviously, at the end of the day, even though Utah played exceptionally well, it's exceptionally difficult to dig yourself out of a 40-point deficit. So yeah, by the end of the third, we were actually back on track. Well, not back on track, but keeping the deficit steady, keeping our lead steady. And in the fourth, we just kind of cycled through some newbies. Hernandez got a couple. Couple other people. Boucher had a point. And, it was kind of just it went from the most exciting game. It was one of those games that was, it was exciting for about half. The first... Well, no, yeah, it went from an exciting game to a boring game really fast, because obviously we have our first arc, the hero's journey, so to speak, of the basketball game, where we're down by 3 or 4 early, because the Raptors are like that. We don't really wake up until halfway through the first. Usually, we're always kind of trailing, it seems, for the first few minutes, but only by a point or two. And then we obviously went on this insane run, up by 40 points. It just started kind of, it steamrolled, it didn't start as much of a thing, but we just laid it down on them. We were sinking all our shots, playing incredible defense, lots of turnovers, and it was just so that's the first hump, and then the tension actually rised in the third with just that insane comeback. So the stakes are even higher. We're like, oh, we're having fun, and then oh my god, we're freaking out, and everyone's on the edge of their seat, like, are they gonna come all the way back? And it's funny because the lack of a climax of the game was great for us, obviously, as fans, but at the same time, it was kind of disappointing. It's like, I feel like the perfect game would have been if they went back on a run and still dunked on them, like maybe bring it back up to a 30 or 40 point lead, but now they just played it out. What was the final score here? It was 130-110, 20-point lead. You got to give it to the deep bench because they came out at the end and they held their own. I mean, I feel like the Jazz also stopped trying around the midpoint of the fourth just because they have more games on the road trip and they don't really want to waste their energy on trying to climb back a 20-point deficit in 6 minutes. But it just went from one of the most interesting games to a real snooze fest at the end, and that's fair. Some of these things are just decided early. Sometimes you don't need 48 minutes to play a basketball game, and this was the perfect example of that. But it happened, and we can just all take that to the bank as another win for the Raptors. We're back in second place solely. And then we play Miami on when do we play Miami? I guess Tuesday? Let's check. Yeah, Tuesday, 7:30 our time. And I mean, that's going to be interesting. I don't really think we're going to have a problem with Miami. I think that our biggest weakness, I think we're kind of like the opposite of the Houston Rockets, who, by the way, we're also going to beat. But our biggest weakness, it seems, I mean, this is totally bullshit, but it's like, it looks like after a game like this that our biggest weakness is playing a team that just, like, kind of sucks and then underestimate. I don't know. No, I'm just joking because, like, with the Knicks, we did just kick their ass, and it took a little longer to get into the groove, but we kicked their ass. But I think we just caught Utah on the back foot. I mean, they're the sixth in the West. They're not a bad team, and I think the third quarter really, really proved to everybody that they don't give up. When they're on the back foot, they're not going to just fall over. Like, they dug 49 points in a quarter. That's just absolutely amazing. They scored 12 more points in the third quarter than they did in the entire. Wait, 12? No, more. No, yeah, I think 12 more than in the first two quarters combined, the first half, and that's just so. It's impressive. Like, there was a lot about this game that was super, super, just insane and beautiful to watch. I feel like the Raptors are kind of breaking this weird sort of third tier, like, arbitrary record every game these days. Like, last game, no, I guess it was against the Knicks. We won the record for most consecutive wins, home wins against people in our own division, which to me is like one of those like person to run the farthest in a three-legged race in their hometown sort of thing. It's like, I don't know, it's it doesn't seem like the most noticeable or worth to, it's a goal. A goal's a goal. I don't know why I'm being hard on him. That's fun. And then obviously today we broke the season record for most points before the half for us, and I think the all-time Raptors record for the largest lead after the first half. So that's very impressive. But there was clearly defensive issues in the third. I think we can attribute that to falling asleep. But a part of that too, I think, was I didn't see Ibaka performing that well defensively. I think he wasn't really on his man a lot when, he couldn't really. They were posting up for a lot of threes, obviously, and he wasn't always there. Also, the rebounds were atrocious in the third, and as much as that's Ibaka, I think Hollis Jefferson also kind of fell asleep, and he's really good at controlling the ball on the defensive side, but he just kind of fell asleep. Eventually, they actually took him off, and they put they just put the starting lineup back in, and you could tell he was frustrated. Apparently, he actually walked off back to the dressing room, and one of the assistant coaches had to go up and say, like, no, man, you're valued. We might still need you. Like, don't think about it as, like, us thinking it's not worth putting you back in. I don't think he ended up playing any more minutes, but he came back and sat down on the bench, so good for him, But also, like, what's that, dude? Like, Why are you like? Are you? It's understandable to be upset. Like that was a really weird quarter, but like if you want to play for a team like this, you got to have more of an emotional discipline too. And like maybe that's goes against what he's all about in terms of he seems to be. In the way he plays, he's very erratic. He's almost an emotional player in the sense that he's just flying around, very unpredictable. So maybe that is something that is directly linked to his personality. But come on, dude, don't be like that. I think it's a little whiny. It's not a good look. But whatever, that's fine. He's a great player. He did great in the first half. I mean, he was actually getting to the basket a lot too. A lot of great turnovers. Very impressed with the guy. He had a great hairstyle today too. I liked it. It was, I think, little buns. Very, very groovy. But yeah, I think just the defense was lacking. What else can I say about that, man? It's not acceptable, but also it wasn't really something that's worth complaining about that much because we still won by 20, and it was clear that if we had been in a more pressing situation, they probably would have tried Ibaka land tonight. We have Ibaka with 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. He wasn't really getting his shot at first too, but he ended up figuring it out, and there you go. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to me too. He he busted his ankle like only 10 games ago. It just seems like, it's been such a historic sort of, just especially after having sort of flashbacks to the Durant injury in the finals last year. It's like, wouldn't you rather, our bench is performing so well, so friggin' good these days, wouldn't you rather be safe and just like let him chill out for longer, or do you just want to get him back in rotation and get him practiced? I mean, obviously he was great tonight. He seems healthy, he seems ready to play, but I just feel like it seems like a little, you want to give these guys as much time as you want if we're in such a good situation where our bench is fit to basically take people on. But then again, with the Heat and Houston coming up back-to-back, having Ibaka readied and in rotation, obviously that's the right call. So there's a reason Nick Nurse is the head coach and not me. That's pretty obvious. But yeah, moving on then to the Heat and Rockets predictions. I'm going to say that the Rockets are going to be no problem. They're just not a great team defensively, in my opinion. I think Harden is really good against bad teams because he can just kind of fly around them, but with a good defensive team too, like us, we're going to hold him just low like we do with all superstars basically these days. Just incredible defense. Hold them to low scoring numbers, and then I'm assuming that their defense isn't going to be that troubling for us, so we'll walk through them. The Heat's going to be a bit more interesting, but I just don't really see, like I said last time, they're so good, man. The Raptors are so good, and just I feel like they have a harder time playing against teams that they have low expectations against, because then they can be taken by surprise, and that's bullshit. Like I already said, that's bullshit. Like the Knicks, they crushed, and the Jazz aren't that bad, but when these guys come up against a team that's really good, and I think that the Lakers was a good example, they just pull all the stops. They're playing all these different sort of defensive rotations and schemes, and they're heading to the basket, and they're playing their heart out, and it's because they know they have to win, and they always seem to be able to pull it off. I mean, obviously there's exceptions, like we lost to the Clippers earlier this year and the Bucks, but those games were close, and even then, yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. I think we're going to be good, and I think it's important to have faith too. If you're a Raptors fan, you need to believe this team is invincible, because at this point they are, So, until we're proven until otherwise is proven, like why not just expect them to win pretty much everything? They're a great team, second in the East. They're rock stars. So, if you ask me, and you should ask me because I'm the host and you are just watching. So, if you want to tell me your opinion, maybe start your own show. And I'm just joking. If you want to tell me your opinion, leave a comment. Put your question in the chat. In the future, I might have a little call-in number or text number. Maybe we'll have like a one of those chat forums or Reddit or something. We can just talk, and that way we can sort of engage more with each other. Because it's all about talking. I think the whole point of the Raptors Rewind is to just start analyzing the game right after it's over. I find myself watching a lot of these games, and there's just a period of time when you're at home where there's just nothing out. There's like I love the guys at Raptors Over Everything. They're incredible. They have great analysis. But that's something that I usually listen to the next morning, and they have a production value that includes a lot of pieces that aren't so easy to assemble right away. So I just want to have this Raptors Rewind going after every game. We can just analyze. You can send me questions. I can bring people on too. I'm going to have some more guests coming on. If you ever want to be a guest and you want to Skype in and talk Raptors, please be my guest, Literally, be my guest. Because, the whole point of this is just to keep the game alive after the buzzer. So it's going to be great, and I can't wait to keep talking Raptors with you guys. It is going to be an insane Tuesday for sure, and you can guarantee that as soon as the game ends, I'm actually going to have my technical difficulties sorted out this time, so you can actually watch live, chat, comment with me. Maybe we'll do set up a second live stream, and for future games, I also will have recap highlights in this other box that's next to me. Wait, which way is this? Am I pointing? Wait, here we go. Yeah. Oh, that's so weird. Put my finger like that. Here. There we go. Yeah. So because I feel like I'm really gonna pull all the stops on these ones. But if you want more analysis, you want to talk about some stuff after the game, you have any questions, just a place to decompress. I feel like this is the post-game lounge, like let's just hang out and talk Raptors because, man, oh man, they are just a crazy team to follow, a crazy team to experience. There hasn't really been a game other than the game on Friday this season that hasn't just been a fucking fun time to watch. They're just such an exciting team. And I'm just so happy to be a part of the ride with them. It's just awesome being a fan. And we'll just keep this going. Right after every game, I'll be here live talking to you. My name's Owen. I'm going to sign off for tonight. This has been the Raptors Rewind. What a great game with some crazy, crazy swings tonight with the Jazz at home in Toronto. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.